Greetings.
Greetings. Welcome to the Massive Wagons podcast. I'm going to take my jumper off for this one.
Hey,
things are getting heated.
We're paying too much. We'll put the heating on too much. Clearly,
I did think it was a bit warmer today coming in, but then again, it is July, so you should expect it.
The summer, it's awful. The summer in this country is dreadful, isn't it? So far, it's absolutely piddled it down, hasn't it, all the time?
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, we were lucky. We'd just been camping with the family, Alex's family, and we were just up in the lakes, and it was actually 2 really good days.
Was it?
We were driving up on Monday.
What you were thinking?
And it was bucketing it down. When we were driving up, and I was just like, and we got back from a festival at like 3 in the morning or something, 3:30. And first thing Monday morning, I'm like a zombie driving up to the Lake District to camp for a couple of nights. It's not tranquility, but anyway, it ended up being really good. Like well, I've actually sunburnt my feet.
You got to see it like you've caught the sun.
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, gone. Well, slightly less shade of white, whatever I do.
Oh well, it was a good day. That's good. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that.
Camping holidays, are we?
Talk about the music industry and what goes on within it. That's what we talk about in this podcast. I always pretend to.
Things we know about.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, yeah, kind of. So I'm Adam.
And I'm Baz. Yeah.
And this is the Massive Wagons podcast.
Yes, indeed. And right, anyway, the other day I saw a pretty good video, well, an interesting video from oddly Richard Osman. He's the guy off what's that program called?
Pointless.
Pointless.
Pointless fame.
I quite like that program. To be fair.
I like Pointless.
I it's quite good, isn't it? But, oddly, I don't really follow his career or anything. I don't know what he does for a job. But he was talking about the charts and he was talking about music. You might have seen the video.
Well, he's good with stats, isn't he? Like, because that's kind of his job on Pointless, doesn't he? I think he writes the things, but he's like he's always full of stats.
A statistician.
Statistician, is he?
Statistician. I was trying to sound clever then. Obviously, I fell flat on my face, didn't I? A statistician. Anyway, this I've got. If you want to find the video, watch it. And he says he probably presents it a lot better than me. But I've got what he said here basically. But the bands have disappeared from the UK charts. Mm-hmm. Soloists, duets now dominate the charts. In 1980 to 1985, bands spent 146 weeks at number 1. Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet, Culture Club, UB40, etc. 1990 to 1995, bands spent 141 weeks at number 1. Wet, 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 Take That, Erasure. I know they're kind of, they're not, some of those aren't really guitar bands, are they? But the bands, nevertheless, they're groups of people, aren't they? And in 2020 to 2024, bands have spent 3 weeks at number 1. One of these was the Beatles. So, and then one of them was Little Mix, and the other one was the Live Lounge All Stars, which consisted of mostly solo artists anyway. So what's happened to bands in the charts? Thank you, Richard Osman, for these stats.
That is a shocking
sad, really,
stat, isn't it? Really. So basically, that's it. Bands have disappeared off the charts, and to be replaced by, I'm assuming it didn't offer these stats, but solo acts. I guess that's what he means.
I'm not entirely sure that is completely true.
You know what? I think I'm gonna
because I am sure that I am aware of bands that have hit number 1. Did the Sherlocks hit number 1?
Yeah, how many weeks
was that number
spent?
1 or number 2?
Does he say singles or albums charts?
Oh, well, now you're asking. Yeah, well, there you go. That's a good point. He probably does mean. He just says UK charts. He just says UK charts. Perhaps he means singles, because I'm sure that there have been an odd band or two that have hit.
Not specific enough.
Shed 7
Osman.
Shed 7 hit number 1 recently.
Well, yeah,
and they're a band. Definitely. But he must mean singles.
What were the specifics? I think he obviously whether those nitpicky kind of details or whatever.
Yeah.
He's right, the bands aren't as prominent in popular music as it used to be, or in the charting stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So why is that?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of comments, and a lot of people really, really dismiss the charts now. Anyway, they don't think it's very important.
Do they throw shade?
They throw shade at the charts. I mean, it's not really. I mean, it once was a big thing. I mean, I suppose it worked. It went hand in hand with Top of the Pops, didn't it? Well, but that went years ago, didn't it? You know, it was kind of a double thing, really, wasn't it? There.
So the turning point is kind of like the 2010 sort of time. I think that's kind of what he said. So what kind of happened around that time? Because it can't be a coincidence. Well, I think it started getting a lot easier for people to make music to a much higher standard. On their own in their bedroom. So maybe that's the driving force behind it. I would probably say it was more to do with that, really. Yeah. You're probably right. It's social media, people putting their music out there. Yeah. I know the Arctic Monkeys were a band, but they were a big sort of band. They were a band that did it themselves, weren't they, and got themselves out there, and they didn't have a label and all that, and they made it to a high level. Well, they got the initial spark themselves, didn't they? They blew up on MySpace.
Was it MySpace?
MySpace, I think it was. Yeah.
What was he called? The dude.
Tom. Was it MySpace? Tom. Yeah. He's laughing. Isn't he?
He's laughing all the way to the bank, isn't he?
And he, so. Yeah, and I think, yeah, just a general.
That's a good point, though.
A general kind of there's less kind of reliance on a record label now. Less dependency on record labels.
That's a great point, though. Yeah, people have the ability to create, a high level of music on their own. We mean via equipment and. Yeah, and stuff.
But also, I thought when he mentioned the '90s band, so he talks about Wet, Wet, Wet and Take That. Talented guys. I'm not saying was it Marty Pello? Great singer, great songwriter. Gary Barlow. This is my idea.
Gary Barlow.
This is my idea of a very nice podcast.
Of a very nice podcast.
Dull as he may be as a human. He can write a tune, good singer. Yeah. But I mean,
Michael's always my favourite.
What would you define as a band? I mean,
to me, it's not really.
Take that. Really... I mean, I take that a band. All right, fair enough. He plays the piano. I'm only using Take That because the sort of one of the better known examples. But a band to me is like these people could turn up and they don't need anything else or anyone else, and they could do a show. You know what I mean? They could do a gig. Could Take That do that? Could they turn up with guitars and make the whole thing?
Have you seen them play
the Nirvana song?
The Nirvana cover
back in the day? Yeah.
I think you stand corrected.
I think I was stand corrected.
Back in your face.
I'm sure. Maybe they're a bad example.
No, I agree.
But I mean, if we're not counting them as a band, we are counting them as a band. Then surely we should also count like One Direction as a band,
or the Wu-Tang.
Or something like that.
It's the same,
what's the difference?
Yeah, but to me, and I think the wider flipping population, a band is a guitar band, isn't it? Really?
Guitar or just they use instruments to make all music. The sound.
All the and do that on stage as well.
All the sounds. And I just think I take his point, and I'm sure he's completely right in general. However, I don't know. I think he needs to be a little more specific with his stats.
The stats might be even worse than if you don't take.
See, if I was on Pointless and I had to answer that, he's a big fella, isn't he, Osman?
Yeah, he is. He won't to headbutt you.
I'd be doing it from a distance, but I'd be giving him some stick.
But it is interesting, though. It is interesting. But there is definitely an absence of bands in general, really, in the chart that making music on TV or on the radio. It's I don't know why that is. Maybe maybe people don't like. It is difficult being in a band, isn't it? I mean, it is difficult. Maybe that's what. Maybe there's a lot of solo artists think I'm doing this on my own. Why would I want to flipping share control of my vision with four of the dickheads?
Well, yeah,
it makes life absolutely ridiculously hard.
Well, that's
and
what
labels
I mean.
have to deal with 5 people.
Well, that's it. So you've got a talented songwriter in the wherever. Using, I don't know if it went down like this at all. I'm only, again, just using it as an example. But Gary Barlow, he sat in Manchester or Cheshire or wherever he's from, eating his porridge with no sugar in it.
In his solid gold toilet.
Yeah. And he's just, being bland. But he's writing this. He's there writing songs, and then he sends them to a label or whatever, and they go, "These are great songs, Gary, but you know, I think you'd be better off with, you know, this hunky young lad called Robbie and Jason Orange and whatever and Mark Owen.
These good-looking types.
All these good-looking types to come and sing your songs with you.
Because I'm sorry, Gary.
Because frankly, Gaz,
you're going nowhere.
You know, maybe it went down like that. I don't know. So a band is formed. How is that any different now to someone like is it Tom Odell or you know Lewis Capaldi or something? You know, they go out with a band, but they are not counted. I'm assuming as a band because you know.
Yeah.
So what's the difference there? I mean, that's the
solo artist. I mean, yeah.
Is it because that band could be interchangeable? But then take that go out and
do they write any of the music, or does he write all the music?
Well, I imagine they use a lot of writers, but plenty of rock bands have done that though. Aerosmith in the 80s. You know, they use loads of writers to write there.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Really, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, really. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tricky one, but anyway, he's right in the way. I agree that in general, more musical artists at the top of the charts now are solo performers. Well, apart from there being not a lot of guitar bands, music bands, there are a few. If you do scratch the surface and you do look for them, they are. I know we're talking from we're a band and we play with the bands. People, you might be saying you play with lots of bands. What you on about? But I mean bands that are sort of big radio friendly, more on the commercial side of things. They are there. Bands like the Sherlocks, you know, these bands are played on the radio, on bigger radio stations, and they do have a big much more commercial following. We are underground, really, aren't we? And rock is underground, but maybe that kind of like more indie sort of style is a bit more. You've got to be in a club, you know, to be certainly on the BBC Radio 1. Even 2 to some extent, kind of crowd. You know, it is, but it always has been. It's not new.
It fucking has a massive difference between.
Always been clicky.
There's a big difference between, which is amazing to be played on the Radio 2 rock show. But there's a big difference between played on that and being played on daytime Radio 2. You know,
or daytime Radio 2.
You know, those more commercial shows. And are massive, aren't they? Massive.
Yeah, and you don't hear every time I turn Radio 2 on. It's just 80s. It's 80s like.
We've got the latest from the Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah, Belinda Carlisle and.
Bloody hell, we've got Mel C.
Bloody Boy Meets Girl. Oh, if I hear that fucking song.
It's like. I had a bit of a moan about it years ago. I was driving my truck and they had the Pet Shop Boys. And I don't mind the Pet Shop Boys. I think there's some great songs. You know, nothing against these guys and nothing against them making money and a career. But it seems to me once you have got your foot in the door, you know, you are never you're in there all the time, aren't you? The latest one from the Pet Shop Boys. I mean, Christ on a bike. Yeah. I mean, fair play to them.
You know, we're straying off a kind of topic here, but you know, like one mega hit really can set you up for life if it's a kind of hit that's going to, you know, regurgitate just every now and again. It just keeps you a little bit relevant, you know, on Radio 2. Really, you know, they don't really do that.
But they don't. But there aren't any real boy bands or girl bands anymore, are there?
That seems to be a bit of a sort of 10-year ago kind of thing, didn't it? When
One Direction, yeah, like I say, were massive, weren't they?
Jonas Brothers, I guess, are they still going? I think they are.
I don't know. Hanson, are they still? Is it still a thing? I don't know. Yeah. Brian Harvey and the boys. But that's not a thing anymore, is it? That was. I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing, a fashion thing or a style thing. Maybe it'll come back round. I don't know.
I mean, it's you know that
maybe guitar bands are hard work and nobody wants to deal with them. I don't know. Maybe because they're a bit more. Sorry, this maybe because they're a bit less. Maybe call me cynical, but maybe the powers that be in the music business, the people that have their feet in every single door and their hands in every single pocket and control a lot of the things. Maybe a solo artist who they build up and he's just so easy to control. Yeah, it makes money for them.
Yeah, you probably.
Who the hell wants to deal with? And I know I mentioned them, and I mentioned them loads of times, and I know people hate them, and I only use them because of a great example. A band like Oasis, again, I know I mention them all the time, but they are they are the figurehead for 5 blokes from a council estate in Manchester who are probably very hard work, and nobody can be asked to deal with that, can they?
No.
You know.
Well, it's 2 blokes.
Nobody wants that anymore, do they?
Oasis is 2 blokes, isn't it? It's 2 blokes, and then the rest.
But you don't see that anymore, do you?
No, but you don't see that, do you? No,
they are the last of their kind, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
love them or love them.
It is, and I think the dominance of electronic music encroaching into even bands, you know. So, you know, even if you look at your I guess your One Directions and your little mixes and things, that's, you know, it's electronic music, you know.
Yeah, processed, isn't it?
It's not a real drummer, and there's no guitars.
The music you go and see, I mean, I've never been to see anybody like that in my life, but the music you go and see is the same every night, isn't it? There is no. You go and watch a band and it's different, you know. You do get, you know, it's a real living, breathing thing, as corny as it sounds, and you know, who knows what's going to happen. But when you go and watch a solo artist, and I'm sure they don't, but I'm sure it's just somebody going. Play,
yeah, well,
you know, and then you just dance around, and that's it, isn't it?
Well, Taylor Swift, all right, she uses a live band. As far as I could tell, I'm almost, you know, I would say there ain't going to be. She's going to have the pick of the best musicians in Nashville to take on tour, and you know, Dave Grohl making comments about at least we play live and all this kind of stuff. You know, it was clearly, he made a dig at. And I thought it was a bit shit, to be honest. I thought that was a bit crap.
Well, it's different, isn't it? You know.
But it's just like, shut up, Dave.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I'm not defending Taylor Swift here. It's just like all that kind of crap. Don't, you know, you can't deny someone like that. It's obviously talented, got a great live band, but she goes out as Taylor Swift.
Turning into Gene Simmons, isn't he?
Well, yeah.
Just saying things for the sake.
Gotta be careful.
Saying things for the sake of saying them.
And you know. I think Taylor Swift has got a great band, and to me, it's a band. You know, Taylor Swift. You're going to see Taylor Swift, the band Taylor Swift. So why again? Like in the 80s, for example. I don't know why this one came to the top of my head. Kenny Loggins, but you know. But
Kenny Loggins.
Why is I'm sure like he's
is that Danger Zone? Isn't
it? Yeah, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of some bloody Bryan Adams. Then Bryan Adams, is that a band or is that a solo artist? You know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a band, isn't it? You know,
it's a band. Well, up to date, a modern version might be Chris Barris.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the guy was as far as I'm aware, the guy was a solo blues artist. And now he has.
It's a band, yeah.
Now he's a band, great band, big, and lots of success, and they're brilliant. I've never spoken. I'd love to have that. I'd love to have that chat with him. I'm interested. I'd be interested in to know why he didn't. Why when he became more of a band with a set lineup, did he keep the name? I mean, he'd already put. The trouble is, you see, I think somebody like that's already put a lot of hard work and a lot of hard miles into the name.
Yeah.
So to change the name is
big deal.
Is a massive deal, and it's not done him any harm, though, has it?
No.
It's just you become who you become, don't you? It's Chris Barris, isn't it?
I think just like my point was just like I don't know. I think the lines are too blurred between what can be classed as a band and what can be classed as where are the bands gone? And it's like
well, they're there.
Maybe I don't know. I just don't know how you define that. Really, that's a bit of a weird one. For me.
I think a band would be a bunch of personalities, wouldn't it? Where everybody's got a face. Where you know everyone in the band. You know everyone.
I know. Is it consistency kind of like if it's the same members? I guess that makes a big difference. Or tour to tour, it could be any session players. You know.
Yeah, but it is sad. I think it is sad to some degree that there are no groups of guys or groups of girls that
hitting the top spot.
You know, there are there because we play with them all, but that aren't sort of. You know, really impacting people's lives.
It's not cool. You know? What was the DJ? She said she doesn't like guitar. She doesn't like guitar. The sound of guitar. Big Radio 1 DJ.
Right. Annie Mac?
No.
What been it?
No,
Joe
it wasn't
Wiley?
Annie Mac.
No.
Yes, Joe Wiley.
Joe Wiley said that.
She said that back in the. It was like 2000 and something. I think she said, I don't like guitar solos, or I don't like the sound of electric guitar. And
Never really been a fan of Joe
the
Wiley,
music.
to be honest. For somebody who supposedly, I don't understand that statement.
I'm pretty sure it's her.
Sounds like something stupid.
But I heard it on the radio like years ago, and it stuck with me. And I thought, bloody hell, well, there you go then. You know, that's if these are the arbiters of taste.
It's funny because I remember her saying, I can't remember exactly what she said, and it pissed me off because she's this kind of muso type down at Glastonbury and championing Oasis and all these guitar bands, and then she made some derogatory comment about Deep Purple once. Oh, some similar comment, and I remember thinking, what the fuck do you say that for?
Yeah, well, there you go.
How rude.
I think.
Do you know what I mean?
I think maybe because, like, especially on Radio 1, DJs have got they've got to be like that, seen as progressive and pushing things forward, and I've got no problem with that. You can't sit there playing your bloody old, No,
big band music. No, you can't.
We'd still be listening to that.
But don't forget where the fucking bands you're supporting came from.
Well, exactly.
Don't forget what Noel Gallagher. Again, I know I go to him again. Don't forget what he listens to.
Yeah,
he listens to Slade. And he listens to those 70s bands, the Kinks.
Yeah, there wouldn't be one without the next.
There absolutely wouldn't, no. So.
It is an evolution, and you don't shit on the past.
No.
But I think that's probably where it's gone, really, because guitar had its day. Really, I think it peaked with when it was like at the forefront. It was probably the late 80s, wasn't it? And I completely agree. It needed to change, and it did. With grunge, it took everyone started staring at the floor, and it wasn't, hairspray and stuff.
The guitar was being used, but the guitar wasn't
the main
main sound, was it?
And it's just continued. It's just continued on, really. And when you've got less reliance on those kind of instruments and you're programming your beats and whatever, you don't need a band. You could. Billie Eilish, her and her brother made how many number ones? Sat in his bedroom on Logic, recorded everything, as far as I'm aware. The first album she did, anyway.
Yeah, but it's fucking dull, isn't it?
Well, whatever.
Well,
I mean, it goes to show you, they didn't need massive budgets, massive studios or anything.
No, you're right, mate. No, I agree.
They've made millions off the back of very little investment, and that just could not happen 20, 30 years ago.
It is staggering, though, isn't it? How one instrument can just be as powerful and as big and as dominant above everything else. The guitar, there's just one instrument, It became such a, apart from the piano maybe, but the guitar just became an icon of music, doesn't it? Really, the guitar.
Well, it's where they fit in the kind of frequency of music, isn't it? So you got your bass obviously doing that thing. And then you got your drums, which isn't really, there's no melody there, is there? It's pure rhythm. And then your guitars and keyboards are sort of in the same ballpark as your vocals, isn't it? And that's what occupies people's
you often get, though,
attention.
Even if a band are electronic, you often get like a guitar as well, don't you? The Prodigy use.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, that being said, they use a drummer and a guitar player because that's insane music. I think it's amazing. So I think that's the ultimate blend of.
Yeah,
sort of rock and processed music.
I would probably say Pendulum were even more kind of, because their guitars are a lot louder. I think, and I think even when they perform, it's like, I think there's only two of them.
I've never seen them, to be honest. I don't really know anything about them.
I think it's just guitars and.
Is it right?
And but that's I agree. I think it's a great combination. Aggressive keyboards.
Yeah.
There's a band called Carpenter Brut. French band, electronic guitar.
I bought my dad a bottle of that for Christmas.
Carpenter Brut.
Smells awful.
And brilliant, really good. Really, really great kind of energy. And I believe when they play live, it's a DJ, live drummer, live guitarist. And it's all like dance, sort of hard hitting dance. Club music.
Bands like Limp Bizkit as well. I mean, they although Wes Borland is a big part of the band and he plays guitar, it's not. It's a lot of chords in it, and a lot of. I don't think he plays a lot of. There's no real solos. There's no solos.
No, he's quite dynamic though. He's got like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. Limp Bizkit are fantastic. They kind of wrote the.
But it's not the forefront, is it?
No,
the guitar isn't at the forefront of the music, is it? It's not the. It's
no,
it's not like
no,
Van
no.
Halen, is it? Or,
No.
Or anything like that. Do you think it'll ever come back that way? The guitar. I mean, obviously, like you said, much like a lot of music styles, it's around for that long. People get sick of it. It has to go, doesn't it? It has to go for it. Hopefully, for it to come back one day.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking in the
fuck we're talking
in the
about?
podcast.
Miles off.
Well, no, but I'm just bringing it back to the original point. We're talking in terms of music that gets to the top, that's at the top of the charts. It's still there, and it always has been, but it's just not very prominent. Not as prominent as it was. But I don't think it will ever get to the top again.
The guitar music.
No, not. I think the last band that really did that was The Darkness. That was. I liked them, but it was a massive novelty aspect to that.
It was. It was, yeah.
And I think they were kind of. I think anyone who says they're just a novelty band is selling them way short. I think they're a very, very good band, very good songwriters, but they were helped to the top by the catsuits and the throwback antics. Without that, maybe I don't think they would have.
Had they have taken themselves a bit more seriously, it might not have gone anywhere.
Well, exactly, yeah. But they took themselves seriously, in my opinion, where it mattered, which was the
songwriting,
great songwriters.
I just meant their image and the style and how they come across.
Yeah, the bandana and you only have to look at the music videos that they released at the time to know that they obviously had the tongues firmly planted in the cheek.
Very clever.
But yeah, no, I don't think it's ever been since then. 20 years ago, I don't think it's ever been there.
I could fucking cry.
Yeah,
I could fucking cry.
Where the guitar has been like so, the low slung Gibson Les Pauls held aloft on top of a cliff. Doesn't happen.
I mean, even your bands like Greta Van Fleet. I mean, I don't know what they do in America, but that was I'm imagining that was a serious attack on the guitar coming back to prominence.
Yeah,
and, and as well as they've done, it's not, has it? It's not. I mean, all right, yeah. There's a long road to walk, isn't there, for them? But
it's as big as it gets. It's as big as it's got, really. Since I agree, yeah, Greta Van Fleet. They're massive business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird one. So I don't know.
It's it is a strange one. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what I've always said. I've always said all the bands that, regardless of how far they get and how much success bands think they have, they're all as important as each of the guitar bands, because they're just all it might sound corny, but they're all grinding it out, aren't they? They're all keeping it alive, ready for the next band, ready for the next band, ready for the next band, in the hope that one day maybe it will come back. Because if people give up playing guitar and give up playing in bands, that's sad. That's so sad, isn't it?
It's just too fun to stand in front of a really loud stack of amps and play. I don't think it'll ever really go.
No, there is too much fun to be had, and it's a big part of people's lives, isn't it? With your mates, writing songs and playing bands and learning songs and stuff. It's huge. Really.
Character is a big part of bands. Going from being a band of a solo singer with a bunch of session players to being a band. It's just a band in its own right.
Before this goes completely, we've got a couple of minutes left. I was watching a Sunday Brunch at the weekend, and Soft Play were on it.
Oh yeah,
the two-piece.
Yeah.
I think they were slaves weren't they? Oh, there you go. That could be a start of something, couldn't it? Amazing. Yeah. Skindred in the charts. They've been on TV.
Yeah.
These bands are still there, and they are still. I know they're not predominant. They're very much a punk band, aren't they? Soft Play, but they're doing the business. They're on TV. It's guitar music. It's aggressive music. It's it's
just
really,
nothing.
Really great.
No one sticks up there. Bands, even us, when we do get release albums and we get to the top 10 or whatever, we're there and we're gone. There's no longevity because we don't hang around on big radio stations for weeks on end. That's just the way it is for bands. Bands like us anyway, guitar bands, shit bands.
But anyway, Anyway, so we've got tour coming up end of the year. Tickets are flying out. Check the website www.massivewagons.com, and if you fancy it, come and see us. Because we really appreciate it. And new music coming your way real soon. Yeah. Next single out beginning of August. Mm-hmm. Exciting times.
Come see some live guitar music.
Yeah, it's just going to be me.
Come on, Joe.
We're all going to be
Get Joe Wiley down. Loads of guitar solos just for you.
Melt a face off.
But yeah, thanks guys. Like and subscribe. Blah blah blah. YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you next week.